hello to all attendees. Welcome to the Innovation Hub session that is a part of the open event that we have today, in which we want to let you know about our big project, Ulysseus European University, so you can know about it and you can get involved. Today, in this session, we have remarkable speakers. We have speakers from administration, from the Centro para el Desarrollo Tecnológico e Industrial, that are going to let us know about the opportunities that we have on Horizon Europe, in particular in Cluster 5, regarding with the topics of this Innovation Hub. Cristina Garrido is going to be speaking about opportunities in energy, and Juan Reyes about opportunities on mobility. In addition to that, we are going to have professors that and companies that are going to let us know about their experience leading projects and participating in projects within these topics. Regarding the topic of mobility, Francisco de Asis Garcia Benitez is going to be with us, and Eduardo Ferrera, Francisco from University of Seville, and Eduardo Ferrera from CATEC. And regarding the topic of energy, Ricardo Chacartegui from University of Seville, and Pilar Zapata from Bioazul. Thank you so much to the speaker for taking the time to be with us and sharing their knowledge. I'm Julián Martínez, the coordinator of the Innovation Hub, and I'm also Vice Rector of Research of the University of Seville. In this new project that wants to be a new real university in few years, has 6 innovation hubs regarding 2 topics that are challenges that we have nowadays: energy, transport, mobility, smart cities. It's the one that is being coordinated by the University of Seville, aging and well-being, tourism, art, heritage, digitalization, food, biotechnology, circular economy, and artificial intelligence innovation. Our innovation ecosystem want to participate and develop knowledge and solution for the research and development big challenges that we have in those topics. They are going to be addressed by cooperation, collaboration, are going to be co-created with the environment. All the 6 innovation hubs are going to be connected, and each hub has a coordinator, but all the other 5 universities also participated. So there's going to be a big interconnection within this hub. And this innovation hub are kind of the center of gravity of the European University. In this innovation hub is going to be developed, are going to be created the linking education, research and innovation, and obviously with the intention of having a service to society. As I say, this is our innovation hub that we are coordinating in Seville. Our hub officer is Erika Romero, that is here also, Pender, that is here also with us. The innovation hub of energy, transport, mobility, and smart city has the main motive, the development of sustainable energy for a balanced urban model. I think that the University of Seville is well positioned in this topic. We have a lot of hope about this innovation hub. Seville is coordinating the European Committee of the Regions Green Deal Working Group. This is done by our town hall, and the president is our mayor. The University of Seville and the rest of our universities have a training program very prestigious on many of these topics regarding with this innovation hub that you can see here on the slide. And in addition to that, the University of Seville is well positioned on these topics on the international rankings. Right now, we are starting this process. We have had a couple of months to create the structures and all kind of processes. And now we are addressing the main objectives that are very ambitious. In these 3 years, we have committed to develop a double international bachelor and double international master degree, to have 2 co-tutels program to develop international PhDs, the most ambitious one, joint international European joint master degree that will be followed by European joint doctoral degree. Also, we are going to create many other shorter education programs like summer courses, MOOCs, micro-credentials, and all of this is going to be blended by a powerful joint internship program that is going to give mobility to our students and our professors. In the field of research and innovation, we are going to create a joint research center, an incubator for a spin-off, a living lab, and an open class. We are going to be participating. Many areas are welcome in this innovation hub. You can see here areas regarding energy, research areas regarding smart cities, materials for energy. Basically, it covers any area that can be linked to this topic. It's something that we are creating as we speak, as we move on. So we are not even limited to these topics. We have done a survey to see how well received is this innovation hub in the community of the 6 universities. Energy, transport, and mobility, smart cities have got the highest attention among the researchers, followed very closely by the other innovation hubs. Maybe more importantly, 36 of the researchers that have answered the call, the survey, have communicated that their activities are within the areas of this innovation hub. This innovation hub is going to cover many other topics. As I said, you see here different other keywords, other topics that are important for the researchers. So far, we can see like smart mobility, smart buildings, solar power, renewable fuels, energy storage, among all the others that you see here are very important, and they will be addressed. And a main part, a central part, that's why we have speakers from CDTI here today, is to be able to develop this innovation hub. We need fundings for that, and we apply for projects to develop our ideas. Horizon Europe is very, the topics of this innovation hub are very deeply into Pillar 2 and 3 of Horizon Europe, especially Cluster 5, climate, energy and mobility, and also Cluster 2, culture, creativity, and inclusive societies. Also, just to remark you that we have a marketplace where you can post your necessities to create a consortium, or you can find a consortium where you can participate. This is a very important area for Ulysseus because it's going to be the fuel that is going to be moving the innovation hub. We have a strong commitment of applying for Erasmus and Horizon Europe programs, and the center issue on the innovation hub is the Joint Research Center. I have to let you know that we are already starting to build this Joint Research Center. It's going to be located near to the port of Seville, very near to the Faculty of Science. It's going to be part of the Innovation Center of the University of Seville, and it has so far reserved for the Ulysseus University around 800 square meters. And there, in this area, we are going to develop a living lab, areas for demonstration, prototyping, and testing. We are going to have also joint labs with companies. We are going to have offices. We are going to have incubator for spin-offs. In top of that, Ulysseus has a strong commitment to communicate the development science to society. So we are going to have a system also of open class in which citizens can participate, be part of the co-creation process, and can learn and value science and technology, what we are developing in our European university. So this is my short presentation of the Innovation Hub. I hope it gave you an idea of what we want to do and how important and what are great opportunities for you to participate on this. And now we are gonna pass I'm gonna pass the floor to the first speaker, that is Cristina Garrido from the Center for the Technological Development and Industrial Development.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cristina Garrido. I am the national contact point for energy in Horizon Europe in Spain. I work at CDTI, which is an agency under the Ministry of Science and Innovation. I would like, first of all, to make a first initial remark that the information provided in the presentation is provisional information, and that for preparing your proposals, please refer to the final version of the work program, which will be published by the European Commission in the Funding and Tenders portal, and publication is expected in June. So this is all in my presentation is provisional. Well, you may be already familiar with the structure of Horizon Europe for which is the next framework program for the period 2021-2027. And in my presentation, we are going to present the opportunities on energy. And you can see in the structure that we are in Pillar 2 and in Cluster 5. Together with climate and mobility. So in previous framework program, Horizon 2020, climate, energy and mobility were separate programs. Now they are all together in the same cluster, Cluster 5. So first thing, what it means that the work program containing the calls for proposals is a single work program for the whole Cluster 5. So a document of 500 pages and is maybe not so easy to go through all the different opportunities. That's why we are presenting all of them today. In Cluster 5, what we see, the areas and the themes are organized in destinations. We have 6 destinations. Destination 1 is climate. Destination 2 is cross-sectoral solutions, transversal and cross-sectoral to energy, to climate and to mobility. Then we have destination 3 and 4, which both are energy, and destinations 5 and 6, which correspond to mobility. My presentation, therefore, is going to focus on destinations 2, 3, and 4, dealing with energy. So what we see, if we take a closer look at the 3 destinations, we see the next layer, which are the areas. We have the following areas. In destination 2, we have batteries, cities and communities, breakthrough technologies, citizens and stakeholder engagement. In destination 3, we have renewable energy, energy system, grid and storage, carbon capture, utilization and storage, and cross-cutting activities. And in destination 4, we have the energy use. The energy use in 2 main sectors, in buildings and in industry. Just trying to see a bit more in detail what is going to be supported and funded by the Horizon Europe program in this respect. We have here a bit more detail on each of the areas. So in destination 4, in the area of batteries, the topics and the fields are those ones. They include raw materials, advanced materials, manufacturing processes, and recycling technologies. In the area of communities and cities, it is expected to have topics on mobility services, urban mobility, positive energy districts, zero pollution and nature-based solutions, digitalization, urban platforms, as well as social innovation and lifestyle changes. Then we have the area of breakthrough technologies with topics on emerging technologies for a climate neutral Europe, things like methane cracking to usable hydrogen and carbon, technologies for non-CO2 greenhouse gases removal, or direct atmospheric carbon capture and conversion. The last area in Destination 2, which is citizens and stakeholder engagement, it deals with just transition, social sciences and humanities, and climate transition in difficult contexts. If we move on to Destination 3, we have first area renewable energy, and here we find all kinds of renewables, all renewables you can imagine: concentrated solar power, photovoltaics, wind, ocean, hydropower, geothermal, renewable fuels, combined heat power, and renewable heating and cooling. The next one, in area dealing with energy systems, grids and storage, we expect to fund projects on energy sector integration, electricity system, reliability and resilience, transmission of energy, also on green digitalization of the energy system, and also on storage development and integration. Next area is on carbon capture, utilization and storage. And here we have things like decarbonizing industry or cost reduction of CO2 capture. And last one in Destination 3 is a small area on cross-cutting issues where we have now topics for the support of the European Geological Services and also supporting the technology platforms and technology areas of the SET plan, which is the plan for energy priorities and technologies in Europe. Last one is Destination 4 with two areas, the area on buildings, dealing with energy efficiency in buildings, renovation and solutions for a more inclusive, modern built environment. And the last area, which is on industrial facilities in the energy transition, this is for topics on heat upgrade technologies, thermal storage for industrial applications, or the industrial waste heat to power conversion. The budget in this cluster 5, you can see here the budget allocation per destination for this first period of the first 2 years of the program, 2021 and 2022. We have a total of around 3 billion euro for this cluster 5. And the distribution, the allocation is half of the budget goes to destinations 3 and 4, dealing with energy, 29% goes to mobility, 9% to climate, and 13% goes to destination 2, which is cross-cutting. Then the next element of the program I wanted to present are these partnerships. So the partnerships in Horizon Europe are classified in 3 different types. We have institutional partnerships, co-program partnerships, and co-funded partnerships. What we mean by partnerships here is a partnership between the European Commission and someone else. In the case of the institutional partnerships and the co-program partnerships, the partnerships is established between the European Commission and a given sector, the industry and the research organizations representing the sector. And in the co-funded partnerships, the partnership is established between the European Commission and the member states, the funding agencies in the member states. So for the institutional partnerships dealing with energy, we have one, which is the well-known joint technology initiative on hydrogen, now called Clean Hydrogen Europe. Then on co-program, we have 2, one on buildings and one on batteries. And in the category of co-funded, we also have 2, driving urban transitions and clean energy transition. Where do we find the calls for these partnerships? In the case of the institutional ones, which are the JTIs, the Joint Technology Initiatives, they launch separate calls and they have their own multi-annual and then annual work program. These documents for the Clean Hydrogen Europe are under preparation, and first calls are expected end of this year, beginning of next one. Then we have the co-program partnerships where the calls, you find them in the work program of Cluster 5. And for the co-funded partnerships, they also launch separate calls because they are calls launched by the the national funding agencies. And on top of the money coming from the national funding, we have an amount of money coming from Horizon Europe. Just to give you a bit of detail of what is going to be funded in each of these co-funds with these names, in the driving urban transitions, we have a partnership concept with 3 pillars, one on positive energy districts and neighborhoods, one on greening and circularity, and one on urban mobility. And in the clean energy transition co-fund, the partnership is organized around a number of challenges, which include energy system, emission power technologies, we have storage technologies, we have fuels, we have also carbon capture and storage, heating and cooling, and also buildings. And last one is the missions. The missions is a new element which was did not exist before in Horizon 2020. The missions, the aim is to relate better the research and innovation with the societies and the citizens' needs. A mission is a portfolio of actions across disciplines with the aim to achieve a bold and inspirational and measurable goal. Within a set time frame and with impact for society. Well, in practical terms, around 5 billion euros is going to be invested in the calls for proposals for the missions in the 3 first years. And how many missions do we have? We have so far 5 mission areas, and one of them is more closely related to energy. This is the mission on climate neutral and smart cities. This mission has established a target of 100 climate neutral cities by 2030 by and for the citizens. You can access through this link the report of the mission board, which establishes the main aims of this mission. And for the time being, there's not so much more information to provide because the work program for this mission is under preparation, as for the other missions as well. And last thing I wanted to present is a bit of information on the calls in these 2 first years. In the destinations I just presented, in the areas of communities and cities, breakthrough technologies, and destination 3 and 4, we have a total of 90 topics, 90, which is a lot, as you can imagine. And altogether, this represents around 1.5 billion euros for these 2 first years. As you can see, the areas with the bigger budget are renewable energy, energy system, grids and storage, and buildings. The other ones have a smaller number of topics. Just a small remark here as well, that the number of topics in communities and cities is so far only 2. But the reason is that Commission has put on hold the rest of the topics, waiting for the work program of the cities mission to be finalized. And then it means that this number of topics of communities and cities might be bigger in the future. The schedules, of course, you can see them there. This is a draft, so dates might still change. First course will open in principle in June next month, and you have there the different deadlines. And the call codes, the identifiers of the call, as you can see, we have the number of the year, then the destination, and then the number of call within a given year. So this is call 1 in 2022, call 2 in 2022, call 3 in 2022. This might help you a bit more to see where to find your topics. So if you work on any of the topics on breakthrough technologies, you only have 1 call. If you work on renewable, you have topics in 5 different calls. If you work on energy systems, you have topics in 2 different calls, and so on, so on. Conclusions. Energy in Cluster 5, you find the topics in Destination 3, Destination 4, and Destination 2. You have to look at not only at the work program of Cluster 5, but also if you work on hydrogen, you need to look at the work program of the Joint Technology Initiative Clean Hydrogen Europe, CHE. You can also have find opportunities in the calls to be launched by the co-funded partnerships and in the work program of the Mission on Cities. You can access through that link to a draft work program of Cluster 5. It is a draft, it's not the final version. And the publication of the final version is expected in June. And for the Spanish participants, you have the contact details of my colleague Luisa Revilla and myself. Both of us, we work in energy, and you can get all the information on the program through the Spanish side of Horizon Europe. In the slide, you have the website. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Cristina. Really, you have shown a really large amount of opportunities. The next speaker is Juan Francisco Reyes, also from CDTI, that he's going to be presenting topics on mobility. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, all, and thank you very much for inviting us to this conference. My name is Juan Francisco Reyes, and I'm the national contact point for mobility in Cluster 5, and I'm presenting the new funding opportunities for mobility within the new Horizon Europe Framework Program. Well, Horizon 2020, the last framework program, comes to an end, and a lot of progress have been done regarding the environmental impact and the European competitiveness. But new policies show up. The European Green Deal, with a more ambitious objective, that is climate neutrality in 2050, and others like the new European Industrial Strategy, and of course the Paris Agreement and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. To achieve those ambition targets, the new framework program should be more ambitious and well-structured than Horizon 2020. Horizon Europe is the European Union's next funding program for research and innovation, and it will run from 2021 to 2027 with a budget of 95.5 billion euros in current prices, and it will have a three-pillar structure similar to what we saw in Horizon 2020. The pillar one is excellent science, that aims to increase the European Union's global scientific competitiveness, and it is focused mainly on basic research. Pillar 3, Innovative Europe, that aims to make Europe a front runner in market creating innovation via the new European Innovation Council. And Pillar 2, that is global challenges and European industrial competitiveness, that supports research relating to societal challenges and reinforces technological and industrial capacities through clusters. It is structured, as my colleague Cristina explained before, in 5 clusters. One of them called climate, energy and mobility, which is the cluster number 5, where we will find nearly all budget for transport. To achieve these new climate goals, a new strategy was presented by Commission in December 2020. That was the strategy for sustainable and smart mobility, together with an action plan of 82 initiatives that will guide our work for the next 4 years, which main aim is to be a 90% cut in emission by 2050. Delivered by smart, competitive, safe, accessible and affordable transport system. So from now on, we have to get used to listen and read the word mobility instead of transport. How was the process of defining the policy and structure of work programs within the new Horizon Europe, and in particular for Cluster 5? The answer is the strategic planning process, which focuses in particular on Pillar 2. The result of this strategic planning is set out in a multi-annual strategic plan for preparing the content of the work program, covering a maximum period of 4 years. So the first Horizon Europe strategic plan from 2021 to 2024 sets out key strategic orientations for the support of research and innovation, and also what they called expected impacts. Cluster 5 will deliver on 6 specific expected impacts, which are transformed into 6 destinations. 2 of them focus on mobility, that are the destination 5, clean and competitive solution for all transport modes, and destination 6, safe, resilient transport and smart mobility services for passengers and goods. So in summary, under Cluster 5 work program, we have 2 mobility-related destinations, which are the names of the calls, Destination 5 and Destination 6, where we will find specific areas and topics for funding transport technologies or mobility technologies. Let's start with the Destination 5, clean and competitive solutions for all transport modes, which is divided in 4 areas. This destination addresses activities that improve the climate and environmental footprint, as well as the competitiveness of different transport modes. The first area is zero emission road transport. It is supported by a program partnership. That means that an association of entities interested in the sector defines a strategic research and innovation agenda, SRIA, to make it shorter, which will be used by the European Commission to feed the topic under this area, which the main aim of accelerating the development and deployment of zero tailpipe emission road transport, including, for example, pollutant emission reductions, cleaner air, reduced noise, or accessibility. The second area is aviation. Part of aviation budget will be found under this area, specifically for collaborative aviation research that focuses on transformative low TRL technologies, mainly in this case, pre-competitive aviation research and technologies for future development. We will also see validation and integration activities. All of them, as I explained, focus on low TRLs, because higher TRLs on complementary activities will be funded under the European Partnership Clean Aviation, that we'll see later at the end of the presentation. The third area is waterborne. Topics here will be focused on demonstrating by 2030 the deployable solution needed for all main types of waterborne transport to become a net zero emission by 2050 at the latest, addressing climate neutral fuels, electrification, energy efficiency, innovative ports, infrastructure, and even a small part of automated shipping. The fourth area is horizontal to all transport modes. That is the impact of transport on environment and human health. This is the destination 6, and let's start with the second call, the second destination, that is the safe, resilient transport and smart mobility services for passengers and goods. In this case, it is divided in 3 areas. The first one is connected, cooperative, and automated mobility. The aim of relevant topics topics under this part is to accelerate the implementation of innovative, connected, and automated mobility technologies and systems. In this case, the focus is on road transport, but relevant interfaces with other modes will be considered. The second area is multimodal and sustainable transport system for passengers and goods. The main impacts to be generated by topics studied in this area are focused on the resilience of physical and digital infrastructure, as well as logistics and traffic management, surface traffic management. And the third and last area under destination 6 is safety and resilience, the modes and across all transport modes. And we will find all topics regarding safety split into transport modes, one for aviation, one for waterborne, and one for road transport. The work program for cluster 5 is not yet adopted, as explained by Cristina, but it will be soon, hopefully at the beginning of June. As I said before, other opportunities for transport-related technologies will be found under institutional partnerships in which the European Union, national authorities, and/or private sector jointly commit to support the development and implementation of a program of research and innovation activities. These institutional partnerships launch their own work programs with their own participation rules, defining also their own strategic research and innovation agendas. There are 3 transport or 3 mobility related partnerships under Horizon Europe. All of them continuation of what we have in Horizon 2020, clean aviation, integrated air traffic management, and transforming Europe's rail system. I say proposals because they are not yet adopted by the Council. Hopefully they will be adopted after summer, and we will see the first calls at the end of the year, not before. The first partnership, Clean Aviation, continuation of Clean Sky 2, with a proposal of 1.7 billion euros European Union budget. As already discussed, low tier Ls will be found under destination 5, aviation area, and higher tier Ls will be funded here under Clean Aviation Partnership, always ensuring the complementarity and avoiding the overlapping. These partnerships puts aviation on route to climate neutrality, accelerating the development, integration, and validation of mainly disruptive research and innovation solutions, so that they can be deployed as soon as possible. It also aims to develop the next generation of ultra-efficient, low-carbon aircraft with novel power sources, engines, and systems. The second partnership, integrated air traffic management, with a proposal of 0.5 billion euros European Union budget and 0.5 from Eurocontrol. This initiative aims to digitally transform air traffic management to make European airspace the most efficient and environmentally friendly sky to fly. Complementing in this case, the European ATM Master Plan 2020, the SRIA, the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, was defined last year, and with the objective of achieving this digital European sky. Goals include, for example, improving connectivity around integration and automation, increasing flexibility and scalability of airspace management, and the safe integration of unmanned aircrafts, of drones, mainly. We will find here technologies from low tier Ls to high tier Ls. And the last partnership, transforming Europe's rail system, which with a proposal of 0.6 billion European Union budget, is the continuation of Shift to Rail in Horizon 2020. And the objective is to speed up the development and deployment of innovative technologies, especially in this case, digital and automation, to achieve the radical transformation of the rail system and deliver on European Green Deal objectives as the other partnerships. So to conclude, because I think I'm running out of time, as a brief resume, funding opportunities for transport sector, mobility sector, will be found under Cluster 5 work program, Destination 5 and Destination 6, but we will also find opportunities under the work programs launched by the institutional partnerships. And there will be more opportunities for mobility, for example, under the Clean Hydrogen Partnership and within the call of for batteries explained before by Cristina and the Cluster 5 Destination 2. Finally, if you don't mind, I would like to remind you that there are officially appointed national contact points for Horizon Europe and states representative groups for partnerships who try to support entities to better participate and improve their success in different calls and initiatives. So you can check their names, our names, at the European Commission website, and please count on us to participate and better understand the European Europe calls, topics, or initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Juan Francisco, your participation, and Cristina's participation is very, very important today, so people can have first-hand information. And I hope you keep helping us through all this process of Horizon Europe. It's a really very, very important topics, the one, and very well thought calls that you have been presented. So thank you so much. So we go ahead with the next speaker, Professor Francisco Asis, that is going to present his experience on mobility European projects.
Good morning to you. Well, my intervention is a focus on the importance of participating in collaborative activity like this one. So I want to share you some basic and naive reflections which I've been experienced by myself, and I want to warn you, this will be a more philosophical than technical presentation. So I want to point out some important issues that you might be aware of, or you might probably be not very aware. Regarding the importance of collaborative research, development, innovation, and education in the European Union, I would like to start with a simple question. Do we have hints regarding the importance and impacts of collaborating in these 5 pillars, R, D, I, and I? Well, there are some important and sharp facts that you might be aware of, but which has been very clear in the last 20 years or on. And one is, first of all, a high rate of international publication has been currently observed since the last 20 years, okay, and mainly in the last decade. This is also a consequence of an increase of multinational research projects. There is a second derivative. In general, publications in which multinational groups are involved are better evaluated. So that means that in general, research groups want to obtain publication with higher visibility and that is given by collaborative multinational research. So one of the questions is that we have to collaborate. It's a must. It's a must. Another important fact that we have noticed with our students and young professionals is that there is a flow of high-level specialized professional researchers to go to the richest world region in the world. And that is because it is good for the curriculum. It's good for going up to the professional ladder. So that is a relatively problematic with some countries, and in particular nowadays, in which we have a very high competence of different regions of the world to absorb very high specialized and professional people. All right. So we have to palliate this point by just fostering international opportunities, and in particular among new member states. We have, I don't want to nominate it, but they are very big countries. We are fighting very much by well-formed professional and graduated, very well educated, in order for them to cover the lack of professionals they have in their industries. Another question that I want to bring here, and there are other facts, important facts regarding this collaborative RD&E activity, which is the fact that in order to get experience, young graduates, junior researchers, professionals are very much eager to go to different countries, very powerful countries, in order to get the opportunity to that experience in their curriculum, and to get a much better rate in the professional niche. Another question is about networking. Another important fact is regarding the creation of networking. The networking is an extremely important pillar in the career of the researchers. There is a saying that likes this: it is not what you know, but who you know. Personal contact, discussion with other experts, working in other laboratories, participating in real-world projects. Those are the seed of constructing a network. And in few words, is a must to collaborate in order to create networks and to create collaborative projects in the areas we are expert. What about the strategies? I want to point out some R&D&E strategies regarding some issues. In particular, an excellent strategy, one of the most important strategies in order to improve the level of research and development possibilities is to broaden our state boundary. Okay? The knowledge and inventive are at odds with boundaries. We are very used to close ourselves to new ideas, and a new way of thinking, because that costs a lot of effort. But we have to permeate our own and personal boundaries in order to amplify our our area of expertise. And the second one is larger university consortium. I mean, by collaborating, we can, by collaborating a set of university, we can create larger consortium that will be very much beneficially based on different issues. In particular, the scale factor concept from an economical point of view, from efficiency, from social impact. I want some time to think about the research and the teaching in our universities. And what I have found in what I've seen in many other universities is not how much you do teach and you research, but how efficient is your teaching and your research. So it's a need to concentrate and to optimize the teaching and the research effort in order to increment our impact in all those 4 pillars. The European Union offers an extremely good opportunity. It's one of the largest, powerful and most influential region in the world. We have to take advantage of it. We are on the same boat, but competition is high. Okay, the competition is very high outside the European Union. And that competition is not only high, but is higher every year. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to push all together regarding collaborative projects. Of the benefits of collaborating. Well, the first point is to get a better access to expert labs, equipment, resources, funds. They are full of opportunity in all of Europe, but sometimes we duplicate things. So it's necessary to collaborate in order to, and there is a lot of collaboration already, but it's not enough, okay? I mean, it's very important. It's important that young people, we transmit to the young people this idea that collaborating in different laboratories, with different groups, with different people, is a way to learn and to advance. The second point is to open our mind, to new interdisciplinary fields. We are usually every day very busy with our projects, with our tasks, but it's necessary sometimes to think about these points and to stop and to reflectionate. Okay, it's necessary to visualize that our area is limited, and we have to open the boundaries of our areas from a different perspective, because new solutions and new approaches will brought up, okay? To improve the productivity and efficiency of our research is a must. And finally, we have to be exposed to constructive criticism. This is an invaluable treasure. We have to be open to criticism constantly in order to advance. And that's all what I want to tell you about. It was not technical, it was some reflection of some ideas that you might be aware of. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, Professor Francisco de Asis. Thank you, Paco, for your good insights and advice based on your long-lasting experience. Thank you so much. And now the next speaker is Eduardo Ferrera from CATEC, that is going to give us insights from the company point of view.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Eduardo Ferrera. I'm working for CATEC, that is a technological research center that is located at South Spain. And our main goal is the development of technological knowledge and technological transfer. We generally move from projects that goes from TRL 3 to TRL 8. Originally, we were created by and for the aerospace industry, but in the time, we made ourselves extremely cross-sectional. And right now we have 6 different units that goes to many different topics like advanced manufacturing, intelligent control, perception and software, or for example, automation and robotics, that is the area that I belong to. But the thing that made us more powerful is that since we are extremely cross-sectional, we start jumping on other fields, like, for example, the one that I'm going to talk about, that is the one of mobility. So having the lead in research lines like the 5G, like IoT devices and industrial IoT devices, in artificial intelligence, that is the things that we need to make our robots move around, machine learning technologies that are the ones that makes our robots smarter, or even deep learning technologies that are the state of the art of the perception and computational knowledge. We made a collaboration that is abroad. This time we were not collaborating just with Spain or Europe. We made a collaboration with another side of the globe, that is with China. Actually, this was in 2019, as you can imagine, just before the pandemic. And it was with a company called Big Movie that wanted to create their own autonomous cars. So what you see on the screen is actually these real autonomous cars and the things that drive it. We moved there, we made those cars move around, and we performed several tests in their facilities and in their areas. You can see here some of the experiments that we did. We performed experiments under rainy days, under rainy nights, under extremely sunny days, under normal circumstances that a car will be dealing with. If you ever have the possibility of looking at the screen or at the brain of one autonomous car, I'm gonna give you a chance. So what you're seeing right now is the screen of the computer that is running inside of the autonomous vehicle. In the middle, you can see a representation of the vehicle with the sensor that drives the vehicle around. The sensor is the one that gives you the colors. On the top left, you can see how the system is recognizing the areas of the traffic. It's recognizing zebras, it's recognizing stoplights, traffic lights, and so on. It's recognizing right now a pedestrian. It's actually right now waiting for the pedestrian, moving around a normal city. Actually, this is an experimental environment. We closed the environment to have everything controlled, but there were some pedestrians that were from our organization. You can see now the car deciding to turn around, the car deciding if it has to go or doesn't have to go according to what it sees and what it feels. And that's actually the video. I'm gonna stop it. Yeah, so What did we learn from that experience is that from the one side, the autonomous cars are not actually as far away as what we thought from our robots, the robots that we develop in Europe, the robots that we develop in CATEC. But actually, we found out that there is a pretty well area of research whenever we think about the smart cities, whenever we think in the cars, not as autonomous cars, but as connected cars. If we think right now in our daily cars, they are a bunch of sensors. And if we think about the technologies that are coming right now, artificial intelligence, 5G, cloud computing, edge computing, and so on, you can start to understand those cars as distributed networks of sensors that is measuring constantly the city. And this is actually one of the goals that we have for the new Horizon Europe. And it's actually one of the goals that one of the memories that we deliver for the I4EU Cascade funding proposal. There is also another way that we want to work with that is also for the Green Deal. We want to improve the smart energy green. And whenever you think in the car as a collaborative entity, the electrical car becomes a part of the grid. And it's something that can absorb, for example, green spec generations, or can actually plan for a more efficient use of the electrical network. That is extremely important if we want to move from diesel to green energy. CATEC, as a research center, it's a little bit older than 10 years old, but we have been extremely successful in Horizon 2020, 77, CESAR, in Skies, and for example, Erasmus Plus, Interreg, and so on. So as I said, our plan for the European Union is to make the autonomous and connected cars, actually more the connected cars because are the ones that are much more closer to the current society. Make those cars, combine them with artificial intelligence, deep learning, and cloud technologies to make them become efficient tools, efficient sensors, and a distributed network of sensors for the smart city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eduardo, for such a nice presentation. You really had with your company a really strong history of success. So congratulations, it was very refreshing to listen to you. The next speaker is Ricardo Chacartegui, and he's gonna present his view on the area of energy. Ricardo.
Okay, thank you very much. I will make a short presentation. I will go very fast on the first part of the presentation just to show main results obtained in the most relevant project that we are currently running, and it is where currently I am in the offices of this project. Well, following the line presented by Professor Francisco Garcia Benitez, I tried to collect a number of projects that were the result of multidisciplinary collaboration among different groups and involving groups from engineering, from science material, from IoT, from electronics, from different parts, that were condensed in different types of different subjects like thermal energy storage, CO2 capture, renewable energies, new energy materials, and so on. The most relevant, I will talk of this project later on, is the project Socrates that we are currently running, and we are now finishing the prototype. I will show later on some photographs and some explanations about it. It's a project that I coordinate. It's from the Horizon 2020, and we are just finishing it. But another relevant project, fruit of a collaboration of different groups, it's one related to renovation of mixed-use urban communities congested by traffic, in which different groups developed tools actions to reduce the impact of the traffic and to improve in different cities, in Veneto, in Thessaloniki, in Lisbon, and in Split. Another example of project of collaboration, multidisciplinary collaboration that was fruitful in the past, it was the Clean Act project. It's an Interreg pseudo project and with European funds, but funded by under the Interreg program. This one was acting for the transition to a low carbon economy in schools. And in this one, there were participation of architects, engineers, IoT experts, and this project received several awards and prizes, and the most relevant was the European Union 2019 Sustainable Energy Award. Other examples of multidisciplinary research projects and collaboration between different research areas that create new knowledge and give the opportunity of making new things. It's for a set of related to biomass, bioceramic materials obtained for wood precursors that have a specific characteristic of a structure that make them really interesting for different applications. In this project, we used it for having ceramic, for having confined combustion, porous combustion, controlling the maximum temperatures, and having very good results related to reducing emissions of wood and residues. In this other project, for instance, we developed bioceramic filters for diesel particles based on the same bioceramic concept, but oriented or manufactured focus on this application. For instance, also currently we are developing groups from science materials and groups from energy engineering, a project for producing materials, proof of concept for reversible proton conductive fuel cells with a forecasted very high performance for hydrogen production and reversible operation. Okay, these are some examples that I took in order to show a sample of multidisciplinarity that has been successful regarding obtaining funds and obtaining and generating publications, and generating new knowledge, and following the line previously expressed by Professor Francisco Garcia Benitez. So now I will focus, just because it's the most spectacular because of the images, and focus in the project Socrates that we are now close to the end. It's solar calcium looping integration for thermochemical energy storage. Well, it is based in low price, wide availability, and harmlessness materials. One of the materials was among the most abundant on the Earth's surface. Because of these characteristics, heat can be released at very high temperature, and it's a very good candidate for combining with new power cycles like supercritical CO2. The reactants can be stored at ambient temperature, and it implies that seasonal storage can be obtained. We are using a material in which with a very high energy density, and it allows to maximize energy storage capacity. One of the main advantages is that it's based in well-known equipment in the cement industry. So there are new equipment to be developed, but also there is a well-known, there is already knowledge about processes and specific equipment. In our case, we use heat to break the bonds of the calcium carbonate to obtain calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. These products are stored, and when heat is required, it's delivered in a carbonator in which these products are mixed, and we obtain again in a closed loop calcium carbonate. It's everything in a closed loop, and the benefits that we obtain is that within this concept in closed loop, we can move and playing with the partial pressure of CO2 and the temperature of the processes, we can go to higher carbonation temperature, heat delivery, that is good for high efficiency power cycles, and we can move to lower temperatures in the calcination, so allowing the use of receiver for lower temperatures. One interesting thing, and this was the beginning of this project, is that we identify that the calcium looping, already used for carbon capture, has the drawback that with the cycle, the material loses activity. It is because of the partial pressure of CO2. When we make tests in the conditions for energy storage, high partial pressure of CO2, we had that the activation of the material was completely different. It's very reduced. So one of the main drawbacks of the calcium looping that appears in the carbon capture was solved. This was the result of a collaboration between groups of chemical and organics and energy engineering. First, we made the simulation, numerical simulations. We identify operation points, and then they performed these experiments, and we have this start of the project, of this seed of the idea of the project. So the objective of this project is to advance in the knowledge of the calcium looping for thermochemical energy storage, to develop prototypes of the different components and implement their integration in order to reduce the core risks of scaling up, generate new knowledge in order to identify and solve potential challenges for the scaling up. We have this very multidisciplinary with different partners contributing in different fields, new materials regarding processes and reactions, systems integration and control, engineering and construction, system development, and power system technologies. We are looking for scaling up and to assess how it can be done. In this project, we are developing some new components regarding the calciner, solar field. We have, for instance, this concept of solar cyclone calciner, or this downer gravity closed loop calciner, and this new concept of downer closed loop carbonator. At this moment, we are constructing this prototype in which we try to identify, to give data, to provide new knowledge, to scaling up models, and we are currently in the phase, in the stage of commissioning of the plant. This is the plant. Here, still here in this photograph is not yet the shield of the system, but here you can see the two calciners, here the carbonator, the solar field, and here different elements. This is a very challenging situation. We have lived the construction of the prototype in the COVID-19 situation, and it has been really hard. But now we are finishing, and this will be one of the installations that will be available at the University of Seville for collaboration at the future for everyone who wants to make it. These are the partners participating in the project. This is the link to the web page, the LinkedIn where we put recent photographs. These are only some of the publications that we have generated regarding this knowledge. We'll leave them available in the shared PowerPoint, and that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ricardo. I think it's been very interesting to listen to your scientific story of transversal collaboration and out-of-the-box thinking, mixing physics and engineering. So congratulations so much.
Thank you.
Now we go with the next speaker, that is Pilar Zapata from Bioazul. So Pilar, please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. So I will try to be fast. First of all, thank you very much for inviting us to be present in this impressive event. My name is Pilar Zapata. I work for Bioazul company, and I would like to explain you a little bit what we do regarding energy issues. Bioazul is Spanish, SME. We are located in Malaga. It is an engineering and technological consultancy, which is focused on research, development, and innovation. And we basically develop sustainable, eco-innovative solutions for urban and industrial water management, especially regarding treatment and reuse, also while recovering resources. Right now, we are 14 people working for the company with different backgrounds and wide experience and research, development, and innovation projects. Bioazul motivation is a contribution to give solutions to the societal challenges identified by the Sustainable Development Goals, especially those related to water management, responsible consumption, sustainable cities, climate action, gender equality, and partnerships. And which is the strategy of the company to actually grow up and increase our portfolio and our service and products. We bet for research, development, and innovation in a way in which we participate in several different types of co-funded projects, which give us, on the one hand, a vision of a diverse market across Europe and also outside Europe to create a great network of contacts, which in the future may be business opportunities, to have access to IP and exploitation rights for further capitalization. Therefore, these research, development, and innovation projects are not an outcome themselves, are just a means to actually allow the growth of a company. So regarding our main activity, we have like two separated but very related at the same time working areas. On the one hand, water engineering, and on the other hand, research, development, and innovation consultancy that I will explain later on. Regarding water engineering, I'm going to be very fast on this. We offer tailored industrial and urban wastewater treatment solutions. They are tailor-made for each specific client, trying to adapt our solutions to their requirements. As example of products that we may distribute and design, develop, etc. We have ultrasonic humidifiers to control the relative humidity of the air, ozone generators for small rooms, workplaces, chambers, and also with agricultural applications like washing fruits, vegetables, or fish. And of course, advanced filtration units, reverse osmosis systems, and treatment and reuse technologies like sequential battery reactors and membrane bioreactors. But the other area, which is the interesting one here, is the research, development, and innovation consultancy in which we work. We are able to participate in any of the stages, or even all of them, in project proposals preparation, diagnosis of the problem, search of the partnership, and of the most adequate call, writing of the proposal, negotiating it, and afterwards, if the project is granted, running the project management. And in this case, we are not only focused on water. We are focused on water, of course, but also on circular economy, on sustainability, environmental sustainability, and of course, energy. In our case, we are quite focused on biomass. So since 2003, in which the year in which the company was started up, we have participated in 58 projects, from which 53 of them were funded by or co-funded by the European Commission in many of their programs. We have been coordinators of 31 of them, either general coordinators or administrative coordinators. This is just a scheme compiling all our projects. And regarding success stories in the field of energy, as I was mentioning, we are quite focused on biomass, but I have to mention we are project partners of the Horizon 2020 project, Socrates. We have been talking about it a lot before, so I'm not going to talk about it. And I have sectorized a little bit the projects in different categories. First one would be the biomass use as a source of energy. In this case, we have, for example, these regions of knowledge, coordination, and support action from the FP7, which is called Rockwood. And in this case, we were focused on the sustainable production and efficient use of energy biomass. The idea was organizing in regional clusters and with different kinds of actors within each of them, and checking why short rotation plantations, although they have a great potential, are not so as exploited as it could be possible in these regions. So we were working on different kinds of analysis, like the SWOT analysis. Then we created a joint action plan, identified the available financial resources for funding these activities included in the action plan. We developed an international cooperation strategy, a catalog of project ideas, etc. Another example in this sense as well is the project BioHeat. In this case, it was funded by the Intelligent Energy Europe program. It was focused on the promotion of short rotation plantations for district heating systems in Central and Eastern Europe. In this case, we were also working regarding with short rotation plantations, but trying to go deeper in the district heating sector and in the substitution or progressive substitution of the fossil fuels by the replacement by the biomass coming from short rotation plantations, especially in Eastern countries, because district heating there is really, really expanded. So it was also a kind of dissemination project in which we were analyzing the state of the art and identifying barriers and running training programs. And Rockwood was co-written by Bioazul, and we were administrative coordinators. And regarding BioHeat, we were the writers and also the general coordinators. Another one is NetBioCof, which was a coordination action from the FP6. In this case, it was devoted to the creation of an integrated European network for biomass co-firing. In this case, we were gathering professionals across Europe to gather knowledge and create strategies and recommendations and define expert groups across the continent. It was co-written by Bioazul, and we were also the administrative coordinators. Another type of project is those in which we find the nexus water treatment and biomass production. Why? Because when treating wastewater, we are able to irrigate these short rotation plantations, which are non-food crops, and therefore trying to gain some advantages like the nutrients included in this wastewater. Regulation has changed a little bit since these projects were run, but at that moment we were working on, for example, BioPros, which is a collective research project from the FP6, and it was developed. For finding solutions for the safe application of wastewater and sludge for efficient biomass production. So in this case was also more theoretical than practical, because in this case we were checking the most suitable species for different areas of Europe, the best management practices in each of them, how to economically optimize the cropping system, and raising awareness, of course, among political decision makers and so on. It was co-written by Bioazul, and we were administrative coordinators, but we had another one by the same time, which was called Asis, in which it was not so theoretical, it was much more practical, because we were indeed developing a control, monitoring, and dosage system in which we were mixing this wastewater with fresh water to irrigate short rotation plantations. It was constructed and tested, and also we developed a monitoring control system, optimization of the system, and trying to close the nutrient loop at regional level. It was also co-written by Bioazul, and we were administrative coordinators. And last, the biogas production and use. We have two projects here. One of them is agrobiogas, in which we were exploring the potential of agricultural waste for producing biogas. And another one was PharmaGas, an intelligent energy Europe project, in which we were including countries not included in biogas, agrobiogas, for sharing the findings made in the previous project. So it's a sector in which we like to work quite a lot, and we are really hoping to look for new opportunities in this sense.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Pilar, for such an interesting presentation on a company that is very related with circular economy and SDO. I hope all of you liked our session, and we were able to seduce you so you can keep checking on Ulysseus and participating on Ulysseus. This is a focus for opportunities and cooperation. We are building a new structure on research academic following the European trend. So this is the end of the session. So please connect to the final session for a few minutes only. It's there in the chat. Okay, so take care to everybody. Thank you so much.